Welcome to Beyond Rockets. Hope you're having a great day. My name is Clark Dunn and I'm your host. Get ready to enjoy some awesome conversations from Huntsville locals about cool work they are doing right here in the Rocket City. You can connect with us on social media at Beyond Rockets, and if you're interested in doing a podcast yourself, I'd love to hear from you. You can visit my website, beyondrockets.com today, or connect with me on LinkedIn at Clark Dunn. Sit back and enjoy this episode of Beyond Rockets.
Everything I liked except the way she talked to me every day.
This episode is sponsored by Relogic Research. Relogic is an engineering, aerospace, and technology company dedicated to solving our nation's toughest defense problems while investing in the bright minds of Huntsville. Relogic is excited to be a part of the innovation and continued growth of the Huntsville community. Visit their website today to see what they are excited about at relogicresearch.com, and all of this information will be in the episode notes.
This is Chandler Wicks, founder and CEO of Relogic Research. We're very excited to partner with Beyond Rockets and further support of their already outstanding contribution to the Huntsville community.
Well, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, it's been we were talking about it off air, but it's been 4 years almost coming up in December since you first came on.
Yeah.
A lot's changed for your company and your business and for you yourself in the last 4 years. For those that maybe haven't listened to the first time you came on, would you like to introduce yourself and we'll kind of get started there?
Yeah. I'm Maddie Cimino, and I started Maddie's Cookie Company when I was 18 back in January of 2020. And I started just out of my home and started on Instagram, and then have just grown over the last 4 years and have gone to college in the last 4 years. And now I'm doing my master's of accounting at Auburn and have managed the business from afar. Now we're a mother-daughter business. So my mom jumped in and helps me in the kitchen, thankfully. And we've hired quite a few people along the way over the last 4 years and have grown in commercial kitchen space. And now we started nationwide shipping last December. So
Wow.
Just specialty gourmet cookies of all the fun flavors. And it's been a ton of fun, definitely challenging, but I'm excited to graduate in May and hopefully pass my CPA exams and be back in Huntsville, at least in the same location as the business, and be back in the cookie world more full time and jump back into the business. And I'll get married around the same time too. So
Wow.
A lot going on in every area of life. It's fun.
Busy the next few, really 8 months, 9 months. It's going to be kind of crazy. Since you started Maddie's Cookies, you've pretty much been in school the entire time.
Yeah.
You haven't had the opportunity just to sit down and just spend and devote all your energy to it.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about just that growth you've had, and even since we've had you on, how excited are you for that opportunity to actually spend and devote the attention? Like, you've grown it already as much as it had. Like the growth you've had is insane. I mean, like, you're everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I see your stuff all the time. I buy your cookies every time I see them. It's
you.
probably not a great thing for me, but like I thoroughly enjoy them. So it's like, how excited are you for that opportunity to really like spend and devote energy and time and like that kind of be your thing?
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's kind of hard for me to envision because, like you said, I've never been face to face with my business for more than a month or so at a time. So I think it kind of feels like the world is my oyster when it comes to what we could do and where we want it to go. I definitely want to continue to grow. And I think we're leaning more towards the route of growing in nationwide shipping and kind of just keeping our production out of Huntsville, but growing across the country as much as we can and doing larger corporate orders. And we'll still stay local, doing Green Street and selling at Walker's Market and the Standard downtown and keeping those connections that we have here. And I still want to grow within Huntsville as well. I know we talked about it earlier, but I feel like there's still so much opportunity at the same time that Huntsville's growing, we can grow too. And I just think the nationwide shipping has really opened up a lot for us and allowed us to get some really big orders. And we just took our biggest order ever. So for Christmas, we're doing a corporate order that's 5,200 cookies.
Oh, wow.
So that is what's on my mind right now. But
That's
it's
insane.
just opportunities like that always lead to something else. So just getting those big orders that lead to another one, and the exposure is the biggest part. And it's the best when, you get exposure online, but when someone actually gets to have your cookies because of that is the best part.
Yeah.
So.
And that 5,200 cookie order, I mean, obviously that's insane. That's a ton of cookies.
Yeah.
Is that a local corporate or is that
yes, it's a company here.
A company here in
they're
Huntsville.
gonna ship them nationwide.
Wow. So like all their like other offices and stuff like that. Wow.
Just corporate gifting. So I
That's
guess to
super cool.
clients and different referrals that they have. But in my head, that's just like, wow, it's 300 businesses or so that will get our cookies, and hopefully they love them and maybe will order themselves. But just, we've always wanted to spread joy with our cookies. So it's a huge opportunity to do that.
And I mean, I think like for cooking an order size that big, like, is that like how far in it, like when do you begin that process knowing that like you got to send the freshest cookie out and they need it at a certain time? Like, is that a week before? Is that a 2 days before? And is that like, what does that process look like for 5,200 cookies?
Yeah, well, it has begun. So it'll be the first week of December, but we actually just hired 4 new helpers this past week to help us produce the dough and just stay on top of it throughout the holiday season. Cause I mean, an order like that will completely wipe us out of dough in 3 days. So we can go ahead and start prepping the dough now and at least get ahead for Thanksgiving, and then just keep the dough stocked. We've bought 3 new freezers in the last couple weeks just to store everything and get ready. But also, it's one thing to take a huge order like that, but I don't want it to affect any of the other corporate orders that we have that have ordered for the last 4 years, and make sure we still have room for those. And it's just an addition. It shouldn't take away from the other orders. So it's a lot to think through that, but packaging wise and all of that, we're trying to refine that process, and we are going to blow through a lot of our shipping boxes that we just ordered. So I've got to get another pallet of those in, but it's very exciting and great problem to have.
For sure. I mean, it's insane just because I mean, not only is corporate gifting with cookies probably a huge time, as we're recording this middle of October, like the next really 3 months, finishing out the year, is a ton of corporate probably stuff that you do, but you're also a part of a lot of different events, Green Street Market, local things. Talk a little bit about kind of what maybe people could expect to see you at, or maybe some of the special holiday things that you're going to be doing in the next few months.
Yeah. We'll definitely be at the Green Street holiday markets. They do one right before Thanksgiving, the Sunday before Thanksgiving. And then there's one early December. I can't remember what the date is for that one, but it's on a Sunday. And those are really fun because it's a little bit different vendors, some extra people from the normal market throughout the year. And also on a Sunday, it's just a different atmosphere. And then Walker's Market is also getting a new store in 5 Points. They're
super
moving
excited
next
for
door.
that.
So I'm sure they'll have some sort of open house. They always have a holiday open house that I'm sure we'll be at. And then we normally do another holiday type pop up, but I'm going to try to not do too much of that so we can stay caught up behind the scenes. But I might do a little bit more on social media with holiday gifting ideas and that kind of thing. That's something I would love to do this year.
Yeah. And I mean, I think, it's insane just to think, like when we did your first episode, we were at Clinton Row Shops. You had a little spot.
10 by 10.
I think you had literally came back from Auburn that day.
Yeah.
And you were leaving that afternoon to go back. Like it was a very quick, like we recorded the episode and it was like, okay, that's it. But it's insane just to think about that growth. Obviously you went to Auburn and you have sort of a business degree and you're working on your CPA, but thinking through kind of the business as a whole, as you've seen it in the last 4 years grow and blossom, what's been an area of the business, maybe managing people or maybe just managing the books or finances, that's maybe been a tougher thing for you to kind of grasp and get your hands around? And then maybe on the flip side, what's something that's been very easy?
Yeah, I would say most challenging. Some days it's social media of just, it's hard not to be here in person and be able to produce the content that we want to. The easiest thing that when it's come to that is we finally outsourced our photos. Her name's Lauren Sanderson with Shoot My Brand. And that has been a game changer. So that has changed our business in many ways of just having those professional photos. And especially with the website, that was another challenging thing of we did not have a formal website. So last year we outsourced the website as well and got a Shopify, and that has changed things as well.
Yeah.
Kind of the day-to-day operations is challenging at times of just what do we need to bake? What's the most efficient way to do this? Packaging has been difficult, but I feel like we've had a lot of breakthroughs on that kind of thing recently, especially finding our custom shipping boxes. Right now, the challenge is the actual packaging for the cookies and just a thicker plastic that's going to stay sealed and keep them fresh and protected. So there's challenges all around, but I feel like we've had so much growth just in the last few months of, even if it's not the company technically growing, we've grown a lot behind the scenes. So this semester with school has been a lot easier than I thought it would be, which I've been very thankful. So I've had a lot more time, even though I'm still in Auburn. I finished class Wednesdays at 10:45. So I'm back and forth from Huntsville and Auburn a lot more than I thought I would be. So very thankful for that. But just having my mom really bought in on the other side while she's in Huntsville all the time has been the biggest help. And she gets all of it and can help with the operations and the packaging and everything that we need.
This episode is sponsored by Yellowhammer Brewing. Yellowhammer is a local craft brewery serving Huntsville for the past 14 years. They are known for their premium craft beers like their T-Minus and Rebellion, but what you might not know is they also offer spirits, wine, seltzers, and non-alcoholic drinks. Next time you stop by their location, try one of their seasonal cocktails made with the Gemini Bourbon or the Yellowhammer Vodka, or try this year's big hit Pineapple Punch Seltzer. You can find out more information about Yellowhammer Brewery by visiting their website, yellowhammerbrewery.com, or visiting their tap room located at Campus 805. Thank you so much to all of our sponsors that help make this podcast possible. Now back to the episode. Yeah, I think I feel like it was probably early in the beginning of the Green Street Market. We actually my wife and I got some cookies at the Green Street Market, and your mom was there. And I think I was wearing a Beyond Rockets shirt, and she was just like, "You're the podcast guy." Yeah. And I was like, yeah, and she like introduced herself and I introduced myself, and it was kind of a cool thing. Cause it was like, I see y'all out, I see you on social media, but to actually like have that interaction with your mom was super cool, and ended up buying cookies and enjoying them like always. When you kind of jumped into that nationwide shipment, that's been a fairly new thing.
Yeah.
What was that initial, maybe first few months of that? Did it skyrocket right off the bat, or did it take a little time to kind of grow and kind of get the brand out there, your name out there, and get people that are, not just in Huntsville to order your stuff?
Yeah. Well, once we had started the website, we probably started on that in the last summer, 2023. And the thought behind the website the whole time was getting to the point of nationwide shipping and building it out to have those capabilities. So I knew it was coming at some point, but just the fall was crazy in Auburn. I was still a War Eagle girl, and it just wasn't really a priority. And then one day in the beginning of December, I was like, it's time to start shipping, and added it to the website the next day, which, I mean, that is very behind the game, starting it already in December. So we already had done a lot of our Christmas orders, but a lot of our corporate orders that are local in Huntsville, they actually ended up switching their order to shipping once they saw that we were doing it. So instead of ordering the trays for them to hand deliver themselves, it was just easier for them to ship them. So a lot of people are using that option just to ship even in town. So that was a big undertaking, but felt like a great opportunity to try out shipping, especially with customers that we are close with and could be open and honest about what that process looked like for us. And we were learning at the same time, but it all went really well. And then Valentine's was really big with shipping. So that was really encouraging of just getting those orders in that I had no idea where they were coming from. So it's always great to recognize someone's name when they place an order, but I feel like it's even better when people that you have no idea who they are place an order.
In parts of the country that you would have not ever thought.
Yeah.
And I think I
think we've shipped to every state now. So
really,
yeah,
that's crazy. And so, I mean, you balance the nationwide shipment, you balance local events, local stuff here, store, front porch pickup, all sorts of different things, and you balance your retail. Is there, obviously the nationwide shipments have increased and you've had a lot of priority in that. I think the timing of starting in late December, though it might've been late last year, has allowed you to kind of like fine tune it a little bit and kind of get you to like this December, it's going to be heavy. Yeah. 5,200 cookies, pretty heavy.
Yeah.
But you actually, you kind of understand, what's needed to have success on that end. Is there another area with like maybe a like growing retail or something like that you're excited for as we move into 2025?
Yeah. I don't think we're looking to expand wholesale in any areas. We have such a great relationship with Walkers that we just want to keep with them. And I think shipping will really be our biggest focus of becoming a nationwide brand. The catering trays that we do in town, those are great too, and perfect for businesses and just the different holidays. So I think there's some streamlining that we can do as far as really displaying what we offer. I think it can be confusing of, wait, she started in Huntsville and she still does all of this in Huntsville, but there's nationwide shipping. Like sometimes people that have ordered for years get a little bit mixed up. So I think there's some improvement for us to do as far as what our goal really is, but it is hard because my goal is to grow as a nationwide brand, but I also never want to forget about the client base that I have in Huntsville and the customers that have supported us so well, and still being able to provide our services for them and a great experience with the cookies and everything being the quality that they deserve, and also just being available to them. So that's a big priority. And I feel like something hard to communicate when we're growing and people are like, well, you need to stick with the shipping and different people that have come in to help us. But I could never forget everyone in Huntsville and where they've gotten us to at this point. So that's still always going to be a big priority.
Yeah. And you talked a little bit about just like being that nationwide brand. You recently had a rebrand.
Yes.
Logo change. Talk a little bit about kind of the what prompted that and kind of how, this goal to be a nationwide brand kind of the first step was that rebrand.
Yeah. That all happened when we started designing our custom shipping boxes, which was a lot bigger of a project than I expected it to be. So we just had some different ideas throughout that time, and we were looking at changing some fonts for some different things. And it just made sense to refresh the logo and do the secondary logo of more of the circular format that we've been doing recently. So that was unexpected, but I think that it has been great so far, and everything looks really good and clean and professional. So it was all initiated with the custom packaging, which I'm so thankful to finally have in and be shipping in those boxes. So it's been a great refresh. And I really didn't think we needed it at the time. But it has been 4 years. So it was fun to see something a little different, and hope to get some new t-shirts and all that kind of thing with the new logo.
Perfect. Yeah. So, I mean, now obviously you're still kind of balancing that, your time in Auburn as you're getting ready to graduate, you're balancing, planning for a wedding, you're balancing all these different things. When you're thinking about the work you're doing with Maddie's Cookies, how much of your time currently is being spent, actually baking versus marketing and stuff like that? And then thinking, with potentially this time next year, you're going to have all your eggs are going to be into Maddie's Cookies. Like you're going to be in it all the time. Do you think that split's going to be the same, or do you hope it to be a little different?
Yeah. I mean, now my time is obviously taken up a good bit by school. But it has not been as bad as I expected. So when I'm in Auburn, I have more time to do the behind the scenes. Everything with the website is all me. So order management, that's me communicating with customers and printing the shipping labels and sending them to my mom in Huntsville so she can get those on the box. So I'm doing a few hours a day at least in Auburn, and just keeping up with the marketing emails and all the things that we need ordered for Christmas. That's something that I can do to take off my mom's plate while she's here, and doing the baking. When I'm home, I try to do as much baking as I can and get back in the kitchen and help as much as I can, and kind of give my mom a little bit of a break, even though I feel like we hit it even harder whenever I do come home. So hiring our new helpers the last couple of weeks has already been a huge change. So whether they're just seasonal or if they stay from here on out, it's been a great help. So I think that'll help us to kind of get out of the kitchen a little bit ourselves, so that we can do more of the baking and packaging and just being face to face with the customer. So that's something I really miss, some of the connection that I had with my customers like we had at the store. But it's just what's best for the business to make it more of a facility production type situation instead of having a retail space.
Yeah. And I think, with this idea of being a nationwide brand, I mean, I think like you mentioned earlier, people even locally are choosing to have their stuff shipped, even if they happen to be, 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
And so I think, not having that storefront, having that overhead, but being able to invest on the back end, which is really going to propel you to be able to, support 5,200 cookies. And then potentially maybe next year you're doing, 10,000, I think the sky's the limit. And obviously you're going to have more and more equipment to support that, but it's pretty incredible to see. As we're kind of closing out the conversation, as people are listening to this, the holiday season, and they want to connect with you, they want to get cookies, they want to go to the, all that stuff, find out what's going on with Maddie's Cookies and stay connected. Where is the best place for them to connect and learn more and find out more about what you're doing, and maybe even order cookies?
Yeah. Definitely Maddie's Cookie Company on Instagram. And then our website is just maddiescookiecompany.com. I would definitely recommend signing up for our email newsletters. That's where we send out all the information for orders and kind of how to get ahead of the game on Christmas. And I don't want all the orders to fill up. We have that big order just the first week. So I think I'll feel better once that is over, and then the rest of the month will be available. But I think ordering ahead as much as you can for Christmas is a great idea, and making sure you get on our calendar. We'll have those dates probably open by the time this airs, but definitely staying in touch on social media and our emails if you would like to subscribe to those. So trying to stay connected in all the ways that we can.
Perfect. Yeah. And I think, it's incredible just to think about, what 4 years has changed for your business. It's changed for your life, really. I mean, it's a completely different thing. And so it's exciting just to kind of be a part of it and seeing it from the outside and having conversations like this with you. I will have to have you on in a few years, maybe not 4 again, maybe a little bit sooner. Talk a little bit about how that's growing, especially as you're kind of transitioning into that full-time role and full-time business owner. But I appreciate you taking the time today. I will have all information for Maddie's Cookies in the episode notes. If you want to find links to the website, social media stuff, retail locations, we'll have all of that there. So, but I thank you so much for being here. It's been fun.
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Beyond Rockets. Don't forget you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen and on YouTube at Beyond Rockets. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Beyond Rockets to stay up to date with new episodes as they are released. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed.